Hello everyone, I have come with chapter number 2. It's nationalism in India. Before these chapters, I have made a video on chapter number 1, nationalism in Europe. So you can revise and learn facts from that video. I have added that video in playlist, and now I have been making series where I am covering those all chapters from history sections right now. And before this, I have completed those all chapters from geography section, economic section, and political science. Those all chapters is being covered here, and I have added these all things in playlist, so you can keep revision from there. And after completing history sections, I will come with those all important questions and previous year question, which is very important for examination. So let's start chapter number 2, nationalisms in India. Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of satyagraha. So Mahatma Gandhi returned to India in 1915 from South Africa. Gandhiji's novel method of mass agitation is known as satyagraha. Satyagraha emphasized truth. Gandhiji believed that if the cause is truth, if the struggle is against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. A satyagrahi can win the battle through non-violence. People, including oppressors, had to be persuaded to see the truth. Truth was bound to ultimately triumph. In India, the first was at Champaran in 1916 to inspire the plantation workers to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. In 1917, Satyagraha at Kheda to support peasants. Next, in 1918, Satyagraha at Ahmedabad among the cotton mill workers. Next, Hind Swaraj, the famous book written by Mahatma Gandhi, which emphasized the non-cooperation to British rule in India. Next, new economic situation created in India by the First World War. So, what happened there in First World War? We can also cover these points here. One, Manchester imports into India declined as the British mills were busy with the war production to meet the needs of the army, paving the way for Indian mills to supply for the huge home market. As the war prolonged, Indian factories were called upon to supply war needs. As a result, new factories were set up, new workers were employed, and everyone was made to work longer hours. Third, cotton production collapsed. The exports of cotton cloth from the Britain fell dramatically after the war as it was unable to modernize and compete with US, Germany, Japan. Hence, within colonies like India, local industrialists gradually consolidated their position, capturing the home market. Now, next, the Rowlatt Act of 1919. It gave the British government enormous power to repress political activities and allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. Next, Jallianwala Bagh incident. On 13th April 1919, a crowd of villagers who had come to attend a Baisakhi fair gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. Being from outside the city, many were not aware of the martial law that had been imposed as repressive measure. General Dyer with his British troops entered the park and closed the only exit point without giving any warning to the assembled people and ordered the troops to fire at crowds, killing hundreds. This brutal act of General Dyer provoked unparalleled indignation as the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread. Courts spread, crowds took the streets in many North Indian towns. There were hartals, clashes, and attacks on government buildings. Okay, so we have covered these all points. These all points are really very important and interesting to know about that what happened in history. So because this chapter is to really very important for your examination, and many questions are being raised from this chapter. So let's complete, then we can discuss these all facts properly. Now next, non-corporation program was adopted at Nagpur in December 1920. Next, effects of the non-cooperation movement on the economic of India. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, and foreign cloth was burned. The import of the foreign cloth halved between 1921 and to 1922. Its value dropped from rupees 102 crore to rupees 57 crore. Many merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods or finance foreign trade. People began discarding imported clothes and wearing Indian ones. The production of Indian textile mills and land and handlooms went up. Use of khadi was popularized. Now next, non-cooperation movement in the countryside. In Awadh, the peasants movements led by Baba Ramchandra was against talukdars and landlords who demanded extremely high rents and variety of other cases from the peasants. Peasants were forced to work in farms without any payment. It's called beggar. So these point is really very important from the point of view of Baba Ramchandra and these all things. So you need to be aware and confident to complete these all things. Next is peasants had no security. Those peasants have not security for that. So we will cover from here next now. Of tenure, thus being regularly evicted so that they could acquire no right over the leased land. The demands of the peasants were reduction of revenue, abolitions of beggar, and social backward of oppressive landlords. Now, next, second point, in the Goodam Hills of Andhra Pradesh, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s against to the closure of forest area by colonial government, preventing people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or the collect fuel wood and fruits. They felt that their traditional rights were being denied. Third, for plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed. It meant retaining a link with the village from which they had come. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1815 and 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave tea gardens without permission. In fact, the permission was hardly granted. When they heard of the non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities and left for their homes. So now let's start from here. Yes, we are covering these all important points here. Now, slowing down of non-cooperation movements in cities. So next point, khadi cloth was more expensive than meal cloth, and poor people could not afford to buy it. As a result, they could not boycott meal cloth for too long. Second, alternative Indian institutions were not there which could be used in place of British ones. These were slow to come up. Third, so students and teachers began trickling back to government schools and lawyers joined back work in government courts. Now next, Khilafat movement. So Khilafat movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi and the Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, in response to the harsh treatment given in and Caliph II of Ottoman Empire and the dismemberment of Ottoman Empire by the British. Next, Chori Chora incident. So these all incidents are really very important. You need to be aware and observe these all content properly. Next, Chori Chora incident. In February 1922, Gandhiji decided to launch a no tax movement. The police opened fire at the people who were taking part in a demonstration. Without any provocation, the people turned violent in their anger and attacked the police station and set fire to it. The incident took place in Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh. So you need to also be aware in some times what happened in map works. It comes very Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh. So very Chauri Chaura. So you can be aware that Uttar Pradesh you can mark there Chauri Chaura. Next, when the news reached Gandhiji, he decided to call off non-cooperation movement as he felt that it was turning violent and that the satyagrahis were not properly trained for mass struggle. Now next, Swaraj Party. Swaraj Party was formed by C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru for return to council politics. Simon Commission 1928 and boycotted Lahore Congress sessions and demand for Purna Swaraj in 1929, Dandi March and the beginning of civil disobedience movement. Now next, we are covering from here till moment. Features of civil, we will complete from here now. Next is features of civil disobedience movement. So number 1 points given. People were now asked not only for refuse cooperation with the British but also to break colonial laws. Second, foreign cloth was boycotted and people were asked to pick liquor shops. Third, peasants were asked not to pay revenue and chowkidari taxes. Fourth, students, lawyers, and village officials were asked not to attend English medium schools, colleges, courts, and offices. Now, next point, Salt March. This is really very important. Be aware for that. On 31st January 1930, Mahatma Gandhi sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin stating the 11 demands, one of which was the demands to abolish salt tax. Salt was one of the most essential food items consumed by the rich and poor alike, and a tax on it was considered an operation on the people by the British government. Mahatma Gandhi's letter was an ultimatum, and if his demands were not fulfilled by March 11, he had threatened to launch a civil disobedience campaign. So Mahatma Gandhi started his famous Salt March accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 240 miles from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati to the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi. The volunteers walked for 24 days, about 10 miles a day. Thousands came to hear Mahatma Gandhi wherever he stopped, and he told them what he meant by Swaraj and urged them to peacefully defy the British. On 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. This marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Although I have told you that this chapter is really very lengthy and important, but we are observing those all important content from here. So we are just observing these all things. So be aware and keep stay with these all contents and learn these all important facts properly. So now let's starting. Now little bit is left here. So we are just covering from here. Who participated in the movement? Civil disobedience movement came into force in various parts of the country. Gandhiji led the short march from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi with his followers, starting the civil disobedience movement in the starting the civil disobedience movement. In the countryside, the rich patidars uh, of Gujarat and Jats of Uttar Pradesh were active in the movement. Our rich communities were very hard hit by the trade depression and falling prices. They became enthusiastic supporters of the civil disobedience movement. Merchants and industrialists supported the movement by giving financial assistance and also by refusing to buy and sell the imported goods. The industrial working class of Nagpur region also participated in the civil disobedience movement. Railway workers, dock workers, minerals of Chota Nagpur, etc. etc. So participated in protest rallies and boycott campaigns. Thus we have completed till here. Now these points are left to observe. These are very important points. Limits of the movement: less participations by the untouchables. Ambedkar for separate electorate and Pune Pact of 1932. Lukewarm response by the some Muslim political organization. Provisions of Pune Pact of 1932. See, Pune Pact one is also important, so be aware. It was signed between Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji. It gave depressed classes reserved seats in Central Provincial Council, but they were to be voted by the general electorate. The sense of collective belonging, though nationalism spread through the experience of united struggle, but a variety of cultural process captured the imagination of Indians and promoted a sense of collective belongingness. Now, these are important points. So, point number one: use of figures or images. The identify of India came to be visually associated with the image of Bharat Mata. Devotion to the mother figure came to be seen as an evidence of one's nationalism. Second, Indian folklore. Nationalists started recording and using folklores and tales which they believed gave a true picture of traditional culture that had been corrupted and damaged by outside forces. So, preservation of these became a way to discover one's national identity and restored a sense of pride in one's past. Third, use of icons and symbols in the form of flags. Carrying the tricolor flag and holding it aloft during marches became a symbol of defiance and promoted a sense of collective belonging. Now, fourth is reinterpretation of history. India's Indians began looking into the past of rediscover the glorious developments in ancient times in the field of art, science, mathematics, religion, and culture, etc. The glorious time was followed by a history of decline when India got colonized, as Indian history was miserably written by the coloniers. Thus, we have completed this chapter, and after completing these chapters, I will come in my next video with chapter number 3. It's the making of a global world. So, till then, keep revision and be updated with these all important content, which is very necessary for your examination. And after completing all the chapters from social science, and I will come with those all previous year question papers, and where we will discuss with those all previous year questions, and some very important question set, and important guest questions which is very important for examination to practice in. So keep revision and keep update.